since my cardiac arrest, what I've really been shown, like I had this insight in a way when I lost my dad when I was like very young, but the mortality of my own life has been really shown to me now since in the last 2 years. Like just how I knew that it could happen to other people and in a way that it could happen to me as well, but now it happened to me. So just knowing like, yes, this really happens to people. And what I've been in a way a little bit struggling with and where I'm really curious about just to learn about from you or just to hear your thoughts on is you hear often people saying like, oh, you got to live in the now, you got to live in the moment. And that's true for everyone, right? But at the same time, you also want to work on the future. And yeah, how do you balance this out? Have you learned a way to balance out living in the now and working towards the future on projects, on the Mindset Academy, on my survival story, or other things? How do you do this? Do you have any?
It's a very interesting question, and I can feel that it comes from you because you have been in the same conflict.
Yeah.
And as long as you have not, I mean, you said you understood that you have to die one day, but I think you felt, you know, that you're going to die one day. It's a feeling, a knowledge in feeling, which is not the same as knowing. And I think that's what differentiates people who had to go through something like you and me from people who are reading a book from, let's say, you or from me, you know?
Yeah.
It's once you feel it, once you nearly hit the wall, you have another kind of epiphany on the emotional level. And then it's true, you come in this conflict. And it's something that I had to learn and still learning with since now nearly 10 years. Because of course, in the beginning, I was like, okay, let's take all my savings and let's do this project and let's go once around the world. And I mean, I don't know if I'm going to survive 6 months. Let's do it. You know, I literally was taking out all my retirement plan and saying like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make a company or a foundation and put it in there. And then you come home and you're broke and you're still alive. And then you're like, okay, maybe it's like, what should I do now?
Yeah.
And so I'm still, I would answer your question like this. I don't have a long-term tactical plan, like saying, you know, this is the milestones I'm going to achieve. But I have big dreams and big visions. So if I compare it to sailing, which helps me a lot to put this kind of thoughts into a picture, is I envision an island or a dream destination where I want to go with my boat. And so I see that very clearly, where like this is my long-term visualization. But I know that I'm on the boat and I only can live and act and interact with life on the boat. And so in the end, it actually doesn't matter if I reach the island or if I just on the way to this island, because I need the island as a navigational compass. So I know, okay, in which direction should I sail?
Yeah.
But I know that any time there can be a thunder or whatever, and then the journey's over. And so it doesn't destroy my happiness or my acting on the boat. And so that's how I approach my life, but also my business. I have a big vision for what I want to achieve, but I try to stay on the moment and on the boat by being on the journey. Yes.
Yeah, I would say that is also my approach to this.
Yeah. How do you do it? Like, how do you solve that problem?
Well, to really be in love with the journey and not the destination, to say it very, and that's actually what you kind of said too, right? And I really question each time, does this feel good? You know?
Yeah.
Even if it's a long-term plan, it has to feel good. It has to be. What? It does.
Does it?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, the projects that I work on, like the IPS projects, they're so meaningful to me. I have so much love for it. I enjoy working on it every day. And as long that that is true, it's worth proceeding, it's worth continuing to build this further. And that is a bit
I was asking because I think when you said as long as it is meaningful to you, then you keep on working on it. But that probably also includes that you're going to do things that you don't like and things that feel like, And I think that's helps me more to navigate. I try to navigate according to meaning and not according to pleasure, because sometimes when you say it has to feel good, I feel like, this is just, if it just has to feel good, I would watch the whole day Netflix and eat pizza, like that's not bringing me to my island. So when I like what you said, like as long as there is meaning, then you are able to keep going.
Yeah. It's not about like pleasure. It's truly meaning. That's honestly just the words, and that's really like what Viktor Frankl with like man's search for meaning. But it's so true, and especially if you go through something horrible, meaning is truly the thing that will drive you through the darkness.
Yeah.
And things have to feel meaningful to me for me to continue doing it. And I can be long term. That's fine.
Totally. And I think meaning is very interesting because once you select what is meaningful to you, you can, this is kind of a fast forward process, and then you can like step back and ask yourself, okay, what kind of person do I have to become in order to achieve this meaningful goal? And what kind of character, what kind of actions, what kind of ethics or habits or values do I have to incorporate in order to achieve that meaningful goal? Rather than saying, I want to become a better human. I think that's much harder. Just like okay, I have to be a good person. Yeah, but why? And what does that mean? But if you know why, then I think it's easier. At least for me, it is easier somehow.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I would say if people like want to create like their own company or want to be self-employed, I personally always am like, what is meaningful to you? What do you care about? Because personally, that's the approach that I always have taken. That's that will allow you to succeed more because you want to continue working on it. You want to take the hard things with it more easily than if you just focus on, where can be the most money be found. And many people take that route as well and have a lot of success with that too, which is of course fine, but that is very empty for me. And it's just really about, and especially if you had these moments of the fragility, like of seeing that your life can just quickly pass by, it becomes so much more important to take the path of meaning